Hello everyone, this is week 2 of Advent season, and for this week we're going to be looking at the word faith. We're going to be looking at some scriptures from the Bible that talk about faith, and it's a topic that is definitely very connected and intertwined with waiting, which is the whole point of Advent, is reminding us of this wait. So I want to start by reading from scripture where it says in Psalm 27:14, it says, "Wait for the Lord, be strong and courageous." Wait for the Lord. And then in Hebrews 11 verse 6 says, "Now without faith it is impossible to please God, for the one who draws near to him must believe that he exists and rewards those who seek him." So waiting and faith go together, but it is hard. So if you have ever waited for something to happen, if you had to wait, you know that's something really hard to do. And you know the expectation of waiting, it is something that you're looking forward to. And especially in this day where we're so used to having things right at the tip of our fingers and be able to order something right away, in the age of Amazon Prime and fast delivery, and everything is supposed to be immediate. But the Bible reminds us that waiting is important, that waiting is part of our journey as followers of Jesus. That is something that we're expected to do, that we're expected to be embodying even right now through the season, as we're reminded of the season of Advent, as we look in faith to what God has already done and for what He's going to do. So in Hebrews 1, chapter 1, verse 1, see that now faith is the assurance of things that hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. And in verse 13, it says that, talking about all those different people that we call the heroes of faith, it said that lots of them died without seeing the fulfillment of the promise that they were waiting for. They did not receive the things promised. They only saw them and welcomed from the distance, admitting that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. So waiting is faith in action. So it may seem like waiting for something to happen sometimes can be a passive thing, but it's actually when you hope and when you wait in faith for something that God has promised, that is you exercising your faith. And the Bible is filled with examples of people who waited in faith. We're reminded by Abraham waiting for the son that was promised to him. We're reminded by Joseph waiting in prison for the promise that God had made to him. We're reminded by Mary herself waiting for the Messiah, for the baby Jesus that was promised. So we know that waiting is faith in action. It's something that God invites us to be waiting, actively waiting and seeking ways to be reminded each day of our journey as Christians. That yes, in the story that we're living, the biblical story that we're living, Jesus has already come, but He's also coming back again. There's things that He has already done, and there's the things that we look forward to seeing happen in the future. If any season we understanding the longing and the desire to see things being put right in this world is right now. We know that we're like longing and waiting for a vaccine right now that will come and hopefully bring relief to the whole thing of the pandemic. But we also know there's all sorts of things that are broken with this world even before this pandemic. But we know that we have a hope in Jesus, that He is going to come back and going to make things right again. So this week, as we look at the story of Simeon in the Bible, we're going to look at this. This is the liturgy for this week, where we're going to look and see what God has to say in the story of Simeon. Keep that in mind as we're trusting that God is the one that's going to fulfill His promises. And I want to give you 3 ways for you to actively wait through this season of Advent. So the first one, share with a family or a family member or a friend or a co-worker something that you're waiting for. And say, I'm praying for this. I'm praying that this will happen. And share with them something that you're longing for. Number 2, encourage someone who's waiting for something. Maybe point to some of the stories I just mentioned in the Bible for people who waited for things that seemed impossible and God made them happen. Encourage them from Scripture if you can, and point to how God fulfills His promise. He never fails in fulfilling His promises. And finally, number 3, bring your doubts to God. If anyone is honest with themselves right now, it can be really tiring waiting. It can be really devastating sometimes to keep waiting. And we saw in verse 13 of Hebrews that some people in fact died with just the promise, but they never actually received that promise in life. Just like some of us and most of us will not see Jesus coming back, but we're hoping and we're waiting faithfully in that promise that He will come back. Is that we're invited to actively wait and to bring our doubts, our struggles in that faith, in that journey of waiting to God, that He's never tired of us. He's never tired of speaking to us and comforting us. So share that with someone, number one. Share what you're waiting for. Encourage someone who's waiting for something, and bring your doubts and your struggles in waiting to God. As you go through this week, as you pray through the story of Simeon, I pray that God will help strengthen your faith in waiting for God. God bless you.